Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 12. So, this week we are going to be moving our way down the research project part one worksheet. And so, just a reminder, it looks like this. If you want to make your own Google Docs copy of this, you just go down, you go to File, and then scroll down to Make a Copy. And then that's going to create one in Google Docs for you. You can also download it if you'd like to work on it in Microsoft Word. I would just encourage you to make sure that if you have the bandwidth, go ahead and start putting the sources in the worksheet now, and you can submit those as part of your project, as part of your assignments each week. This is just saving you a little bit of a step. So if you put the information in here, you'll be able to get feedback from me directly about does it look good? And I've been making comments on people's drafts whenever they're turning this in, telling them little things to fix because every little thing is kind of worth points. So if you want to go ahead and start doing that, some of you already are, but I just want to kind of encourage you. It's fine to keep sending in text box entries, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of something that might help. So our assignment that's due today is the documentary. And so for this, I went ahead and I created, I took my own documentary and kind of figured out how I would cite it, how I would summarize it, and what quote I would use. And so I'm hoping that this will help you when you're working on your own citation and summary and quote. So I would just encourage you to try and find a documentary on your topic. You might have to zoom out a little bit. Some of you have really specific topics. And so you might have to kind of say, okay, well, I might not be able to find something on that exact topic. I might have to move back a little bit and say, instead of focusing on, a specific type of jellyfish, for example, I'm going to focus on jellyfish in general. Just kind of something off the top of my head there. And so you might have to do that here. And I'll show you an example of this. I was looking into Claudette Colvin, and that's because this is a person who who's had a lot of interesting interviews and things come out somewhat recently from the shows. She was a teenager who didn't give up her bus seat in Montgomery, Alabama. And so I'm really interested in her story, but I wasn't able to find a documentary about her specifically. And so I was able to find a documentary that talks about her story, and it's called The Rebellious Life of Mrs. Rosa Parks. So I went ahead and I cited it, and this is how you would cite a documentary. You want to make sure that you have the authors' names, and the authors, for the sake of a documentary, it's going to be the directors. And so let me know if you're having any trouble finding those. And then you're just going to put the name of the documentary. If it is a feature film, a documentary that would be released in a theater or on a streaming service like Netflix, you're going to go ahead and put it in italics. If it's an episode of a show or if it is a YouTube video, then it's going to just be in quotation marks. Then you'll put the name of the streaming site in italics right after the title of the documentary, the date that it was released, and then the URL. So it's the same parts as any other MLA citation, basically. Author, title, host site, date, and URL. Those are pretty much always going to be the things, and it's always going to be in that order. So it's going to be the same thing. It's just a little different because you put directors if you have a sort of a feature film. And then to summarize it and to get a quote. Now, I don't expect you to watch an entire documentary. That would be a lot. I know you have really busy schedules right now. It's that time of the semester. So if you can find a trailer for your documentary, that should be fine. That's going to hopefully give you a pretty good overview of what the documentary is about. And it should give you some like key quotes that they are hoping are kind of stand out in the documentary. We're also going to be working on the interview assignment this week. And so last week we did the survey assignment. I'm hoping that you're all taking each other's surveys because that's a really good way to make sure people are getting data that they can then use in their projects. If anybody would like more people to take their survey, let me know. I'll take your survey. I can, I can share it with the class again. But you can also share it with friends and family or social media. That can be a good way to get more data. For the interview, you can often use some of the same questions from your survey. And so you might have already kind of gotten this even totally written, potentially, depending on your survey questions, but maybe partially written. And so you might go ahead and look through your survey questions and say, would any of these be good for an interview? And for your interview, just keep in mind that you're not necessarily going to be able to talk to someone who's an expert on the subject that you've chosen to study for this project. So try to talk to somebody who you think would be good to interview about it. So, if you're writing about a sports team, for example, you might want to talk to someone who's a fan of that team. Um, you might not be able to find someone who is a psychologist or psychiatrist or something to talk to about like a behavioral health topic, but you could talk to a professor potentially, who well, I guess then they would probably be an expert, but you could see if your professors would talk to you, or you could potentially talk to someone in class who's studying those same things. You could, if you're taking a behavioral health class, you could talk to you could even talk to friends and family for some of these topics. And you can also always just keep it simple with interviews and just kind of say, like, what do you know about blank? And just present the topic to them. Because remember, this is really more about getting practice with interviewing people and learning how to cite interviews and use that kind of material in your research, and not so much the actual material itself. Um, I think that's everything. Again, there's information here, kind of examples of what you should do. Just keep in mind with an interview, the name that you put is the person that you interview, not your own name. Okay. And keep turning this in. I'm going to keep giving you feedback. If you're running a little bit behind, that's okay. Get caught up. And good luck. We're going to be wrapping this project up next week. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what you found. All right. Have a good day.